These are the top 3 suburbs in the Kansas City area where you can buy a new construction home in 2024. We're going to break down the hot spots within these suburbs where you'll find a lot of new homes, price ranges, new home communities, and everything else you need to know. Now, if you stick around to the end, I've got 2 things for you. The first is a wild card. So I'm going to name a 4th place spot. That way you're seeing 2 on the Kansas side, 2 on the Missouri side. We're also going to show you this list of the top 15 places in Kansas City where the most amount of new construction homes are hitting the market. Before we get to part number 1, the key metric in this video that I'm looking at and showing you data about is the number of new homes that hit the market and were listed in the year of 2023. This is for a couple reasons. The first is that when you're seeing a lot of homes hit the market, it's an indication that that area of town is growing. There's a lot of demand for that area, and most of the time builders don't just build for the fun of it, right? They don't build for the sake of building. They build because they know that they're going to get a return on their investment. So if we're seeing a lot of new homes in an area, likely that's probably a good area of town to move to, and they know that a lot of people feel that way. The second reason is we're in a housing shortage right now, and when you see a lot of opportunities on the market, it means that you have more leverage, and most likely you'll be able to get a good deal or maximize the amount of value you're able to get inside of one of these homes. Now, this is not for townhomes, this is not for duplexes, double-sided villas, anything like that. This is for single family homes. We're going to start with part number 1, which is Kansas City, Missouri. Now, according to this data, in the year of 2023, the number of new construction listings was around 720. The median sales price of these homes was around $513,000, and the total amount of sales volume in Kansas City, Missouri for new construction homes was like $365 million, which is a crazy number to think about. Now, here in a second, we're going to jump in the map, but at the end of this section, I'm going to tell you a really big and kind of shocking reason as to why we'll see a very massive drop off between the number of new homes built or listed on the market in 2023 in Kansas City, Missouri versus what we're going to see this year, at least for the first half of the year until the dust settles. And I'll tell you what I mean in just a second. Now, really quickly, if we hop into the map, these are all of the available listings, new construction, single family homes. There's about 240 of them on the market right now in Kansas City, Missouri. If I zoom in a little bit, there are several options south of the river, but they're all kind of spread out. So that we won't see new home communities. We'll see kind of little clusters and little streets where we've got developments going on. A lot of these homes are built vertically. Some of these homes range in prices from the mid 400s. Let me try and find an example of one of those. Like Elevate Design and Build, I believe, is doing a project alongside Truce. Yep. And this is kind of what the homes look like. So very contemporary, a little bit smaller of a footprint, and that's how they're able to get it in that 400 price point. You've also got a lot of higher end, more expensive new construction homes going around in the West Plaza, like this one. You're in a very small lot in this area, which has forced builders to get a little bit more creative and build vertically instead of horizontally. If we go back to the map, what you'll notice is that north of the river, we've got several pretty big new home communities, but we've got clusters throughout all of like the Northland. So if you zoom in, the main 3 that I want to draw attention to, and there are plenty more than this, so feel free to reach out and I can give you a list of those. Cadence is a really big one. I've got some clients looking at this area. They've just opened up a new phase and it's pretty big. There's some good looking lots there, but the prices will range anywhere from like 500 all the way up to, I'm sure you could go as expensive as you liked, but most of them are probably around 900, 800 to 900 on the more expensive range. Now, if we scroll over a little bit just to the east, you got Staley Farms. This is popular because the school district there is really good. You got some really nice homes going in at a little bit more expensive of a price range, but there are still plenty to choose from. And then one last one that I want to draw your attention to is Benson Place Landing. This is another Hunt Midwest community. You've got a lot of spec homes going in here, which is really good because one of the issues with building in Kansas City, Missouri right now is getting a permit. Now, we will get into the permitting issue in just a second because it does matter, especially if you're thinking about building a home in Kansas City, Missouri right now. But really quickly, I want to show you a couple examples of what your money can buy you. So here's example number 1, $300,000, 3 beds, 2 baths, just under 1,500 square feet. Yes, it's a little bit smaller. It doesn't have a finished basement, just a standard ranch, 4,000 square foot lot. The second example that we're looking at is $520,000. This is closer to the median sales price in 2023, just under 2,800 square feet, 4 beds, 4 baths. It's a classic 2-story home, and the lot size isn't too bad, 10,000 square feet, which is just under a quarter of an acre. Here's example number 3, which is on a golf course, a little bit more expensive, quite a bit more expensive, double in price at $1.2 million. You've got 4,000 square feet, 4 beds, probably 4.5 baths. Yep, 4.5 baths, a quarter of an acre size lot. But again, at this price range, typically you're either on a golf course or you're going to be on an estate-sized lot. It's either the golf course or you're going to be on a much bigger lot, sometimes both. It's a beautiful home. It's got beautiful finishes throughout and some really cool amenities like a movie theater, etc., downstairs in the basement. Now the permitting issue. This applies to building a new construction home in Kansas City, Missouri. In 2023, in October, somewhere around October, November, late 2023, the city of Kansas City, Missouri adopted more extreme energy efficiency codes. What that meant, according to this article, is that between the time of adoption and late January of 2024, this year, there was a single one permit approved. Keep in mind, this is in the middle of a housing shortage. Mortgage rates are very, very expensive. And the city of Kansas City, Missouri already has a more extreme version of the housing shortage because it can't effectively regulate all of the short-term rentals. So this is like worst case scenario because every single new construction home hitting the market can help that housing shortage bit by bit. Now the problem with this, and the reason this matters for you if you're considering building a new construction home in Kansas City, Missouri, two reasons. One is that this new energy efficiency standards, keep in mind that homes are already very, very energy efficient, and we're talking about small percents here. This increases the cost to build between about $15,000 to $25,000, maybe even a little bit more depending on the size of the home that you're trying to build. The second is that it increases how long it takes to build a home now. Since the government of Kansas City, Missouri was not well equipped for the code transition, it meant sending all of the builders back to the drawing board where they're having to redesign their plans, find different energy efficiency systems to put inside of these homes, and not getting very much feedback, which means there's still a little bit of uncertainty as to when that permit will get approved. But from what I'm hearing on the ground is that once that permit is approved, it can take about 8, maybe about 10 months to actually build a home, of course, depending on the size. So if I was you and I'm thinking about building a home in Kansas City, Missouri, I'd first start to look at spec homes that are currently under construction. You can still customize them a little bit depending on how early it is, but you won't have to pay that added cost. You won't have to deal with the permitting issue. And keep in mind, even if you go after a move-in ready home, for the first time in years, some of these homes are sitting on the market, the prices are being cut, and there are crazy incentives. Now, with all that being said, we're gonna move on to part number 2, but before we do that, if we haven't met, my name is Massa. I'm a local real estate agent in Kansas and Missouri, and one of the things that I absolutely love, that a lot of my clients are interested in as well, is new construction homes and staying up to date with the energy codes, how to get you the most value for your money. All of this stuff is right in our wheelhouse. If you're interested in buying or building a new construction home, you feel like we'd be a good fit, all my contact info is down below. Give me a call, text, email. We would love to support you. Coming in at number 2 in this video is the city of Olathe, one of the best places to build a home or buy a new construction home on the Kansas side. According to this data, the number of new homes listed on the market in the city of Olathe last year was 388. The median sale price was around $636,000, and the total overall sales volume of closed deals for new homes in Olathe was about $258 million. Now, if we take a look at the map, we've got about 173 active listings for sale in the city of Olathe right now. There are 3 different quarters, and I want to start with the first, which is Cedar Creek. This is in the northwest corner of Olathe. A lot of these are custom built homes. They can range anywhere from like the upper 700s all the way to over to, I've even seen a couple at $3 million plus. The land looks amazing, and I'll show you one example here in a second. If we zoom out a little bit, you've got quite a few different communities along the middle of Olathe, but really the next one I want to draw your attention to is around Lake Olathe. There's a lot of terrain out here. This is an incredible amenity. I've had several clients buy homes in this area. I've also had a lot of clients look at this area just because of how nice it is. You got all the trails, you've got the lake at Olathe, you've got the swim beach there as well. A lot of these homes in this area can be anywhere from the 500s all the way up to the 800s, but it's really in that price range, which can be a little bit harder to find throughout the rest of Johnson County. That can get a little bit more expensive. If we zoom out a little bit, we go to South Olathe, you'll see there's just this massive cluster of homes around here. A lot of this is Stone Bridge, which is a Round Rock community. They've got several different neighborhoods within that community right there. You've got Heather Ridge South, and then Grotto Development has 2. You've got Boulder Creek and then Boulder Hills down here. So plenty of homes to go around. Let me show you a couple examples of what your money can get you in some of these communities. Here's example number 1, $500,000, 2,200 square feet, 4 beds, 3 full bathrooms, and you're on almost a third of an acre, which is a really good sized lot. This is one of the homes that's near Lake Olathe. The community is called Oak Run Olathe, and it's where you'll find, yes, some smaller homes, but this is also the lowest end of the spectrum when it comes to affordable new construction homes in the Kansas City area. Now, here's example number 2. This is smack down at like in the middle of Olathe. It's not in one of the corners that we mentioned on the map. $615,000, 4 beds, 4 baths, 26, almost 2,700 square feet, but you are on a smaller lot, and that's because this is a maintenance provided community. So this is technically a patio villa home because of that fact, but it's not listed as that in the MLS, but I still thought it would be a good example to show you. If we take a look at number 3 and 4, they're both in Cedar Creek. This is about $820,000, 5 beds, and then you've got 4 full bathrooms at 3,000 square feet, 9,000 square foot lot, which is pretty much the size that you'll see in the Manor or some of the smaller lot neighborhoods in Cedar Creek. But of course, the reason you'd be buying a home there or building a home there is because of the incredible amenities. If we take a look at example number 4, 1.3 million bucks, 4 beds, 3 full bath, 2 half bath at 4,000, almost 4,100 square feet. You're on just under a half of an acre. And of course, you're in the Hidden Lake Estates, which is along the lake there in Cedar Creek. And you've got some of those more estate sized lots, which are significantly bigger. Number 3 on our list is the city of Lee Summit. And here's the data according to 2023. You've got 370 new homes that hit the market last year with a typical sale price around $550,000. Now, this is a little bit more expensive than what we saw in Kansas City, Missouri, but still less expensive than the median sale price in Olathe. I did go ahead and pull the total sales volume of all homes that closed in the city of Lee Summit last year, which totaled about $218 million. Now let's go ahead and pop into the map because there are 3 different corners of Lee Summit as well where you'll find most clusters of new homes on the market. Now right now there are about 116 homes on the market for sale in the city of Lee Summit that are new construction. If we zoom in a little bit, you've got a lot of shops up and down right here. You've got downtown Lee Summit. This area, you're going to see a little bit more expensive home prices compared to that median sale price in the mid 500s that I showed you. So you've got Winterset. A lot of these homes have sold. A lot of them are custom builds. This is kind of like a parallel version of Cedar Creek of what I just showed you. They've been building out here for a very, very long time. You've got Woodside Ridge Reserve on Pryor Road. If you head south on Pryor Road, you'll find a ton of new development. This is Hook Farms right here. You've got the Retreat and the Reserve. A lot of inventory. There's also a lot of different lot options available, and there is a lot of green space in the middle of this community. Other than that, a lot of the other communities you'll see around this area, these are Summit Homes communities, hence the name. They're building a lot of homes in this area. I'll leave a video link down below documenting one of my experiences with Summit Homes. Overall, it was pretty good, and for the price point, it's very hard to beat what you're getting inside of those homes, as well as some of the amenities inside of these communities. Now, if I zoom out a little bit, the other corner is kind of around Lake Lotawana. We've seen a lot of construction around that area, but this is the Woodlawn Estates right off the highway. These are some smaller homes, and typically the prices are going to be a little bit under the median sales price. Then if I zoom up a little bit, we've got Blue Springs Lake, Lake Giacomo. You've got several other communities in this area with prices ranging from the 600s and then pretty much going up to the 700s, but really it's give or take. There are a lot of lots up for grabs in some of these communities, and keep in mind you're only seeing homes that are on the market right now. These are not all of the opportunities where you could build a home as well, which maybe we'll have to make a separate video on. Now, before we take a look at some of the home examples I have for you, if you're looking for anything below that median sales price of about $500,000 last year, if you're looking for anything in 300s, 400s, I would look at 2 names. One is Summit Homes. They typically have homes around the 500s and sometimes in the mid 400s that are over 2,000 square feet. I would also look at Clover and Hive. They're going to have a smaller home, but in exchange for that smaller home, you're paying less of a price. They've got a couple in Kobe Creek, but I'm guessing they've all sold out because I'm not seeing any on the market. So likely there are some build opportunities. If you need any help with any of that, feel free to reach out. We can make sure to find some available lots, those floor plans, and help find you the best incentives out there. Now the first example, this is one in Kobe Creek. This is built by Summit Homes, $500,000, 4 beds, 3.5 baths, a little under 2,500 square feet, and a decent bit under a quarter of an acre. But overall, 2-story home. Summit usually has incentives going on. They have a lender partner that will get you a discounted mortgage rate. Totally depends on the time of year. Totally depends what you negotiate. The second example of home that you'll see, $720,000. This is on the more expensive end in the entire city of Lee Summit. You can see it's about 3,000 square feet, a quarter of an acre, 4 beds, 3 baths. This is in Summit View Farms, which is a newer community alongside, I believe it's alongside Pryor Road as you're heading south along all of those other new home communities. And then the final one that I want to point out is probably just, I believe it's just across the street. This is in the Whispering Woods at $820,000, 4 beds, 4.5 baths, 2,800 square feet. The same kind of size lot, a quarter of an acre. Before we get to the wild card round, which you can probably guess exactly what city it is, if you have any questions about how to find a good deal in this market when it comes to new construction homes, maybe you're on the fence between a new or an older and more pre-existing home. Maybe you're stuck between trying to decide whether you want to build or purchase a move-in ready home, or instead go after a home that's already under construction. We can help you do that. We can also help you maximize the value of the home that you're getting by shopping around different communities, looking at different floor plans, builders, upgrading the right things, discarding the wrong things. So make sure to reach out if you feel like we'd be a good fit. All my contact information's on the screen. So give me a call, text, email. We'd love to support you. And moving on to the wild card, this one, number 4, is Overland Park. Here's the data from 2023. The amount of new homes that hit the market in Overland Park was about 292. The median sale price was a whopping $850,000. Certainly a little bit more expensive than the other areas that we covered in this video, but still a good number of homes being built. Now, I did pull the numbers for the total amount of sales in the city from homes that closed last year, and it was about $270 million. So let's hop into the map. There are 2 hotspots where we'll see a lot of new construction homes being built in the city of Overland Park. 150 homes currently on the market. And before I point out those 2 hotspots, we're going to take a little trip north because there's one lonely teardown home right here. We're seeing a lot of teardowns expand into Overland Park from Prairie Village just because it's so close. So this is something that we'll probably see accelerate, but these are most likely going to be a little bit more expensive. Tearing down a house is more expensive, and even at $985, like this home, it's a little bit smaller, a little bit under 2,700 square feet. So I can tell you, you're probably going to get more home, a little bit bigger size the farther south you go, just because the value of the land is going to cost less to acquire. So I did want to point that out. We'll probably see more of these, but that is one lonely outlier in North Overland Park. If we head farther south, this is what I call along 179th. This is what I call the new homes corridor. This is like all the new home communities are along this road. And then aside from that, if you go farther east, you've got Stillwell, and I'll show you that in a second. But you got Chapel Hill, this corner right here. These feed into the Spring Hill School District, so not the Blue Valley School District. Despite that, a lot of people moving in here. The prices are pretty substantial, anywhere from the upper 700s all the way up to, I've seen well over $2-3 million. There are several homes along this road right here that are like 5, 6, 7, 10 million bucks because they're on acres and acres of land, and they're very, very nice custom built homes out here. Now, if we do zoom in, you got, I believe this is Mission Ranch right here. Oh no, it's Wilshire Hills. So this is a smaller community. It's got like 70 or 80 different lots in it. It's secluded. It's a little bit farther north than some of those other homes that I just showed you along 179th. We got Terry Brook Farms right here, which has been building for quite a while now. If I zoom in even more, I believe this is Century Farms right here. There are some really cool examples that I'm going to show you in just a second. They've got some beautiful looking homes in there. And again, this is one that's a little bit farther north than some of the other new home communities because, and the reason that's important is because it makes it a little bit easier to get to all of the stuff along like Blue Hawk right here along 159th. You've got a lot of stuff along 151st. And of course, like the Golden Street in all of Overland Park is 135th Street, but more on that in a totally different video. If we head a little bit further east, you've got a long state line. I believe this is Sundance Ridge. So 3 different neighborhoods in this community. They range in prices anywhere from the upper 600s all the way over $2 million. Some people are buying 2 lots, combining those 2 lots. If we head south a little bit, what we're going to see is Southern Meadows. This is a new community, but the prices are in like the mid 600s as opposed to like the upper 600s. And it looks like that price range is just a little bit less. Of course, we'll see quite a variety. They're building like 1,200 homes in this area. It's like a massive development. The prices overall look pretty good. So let's hop into some of those examples and we'll get started with number 1. $575,000, 9,000 square foot lot, 4 beds, 3 baths, 2,800 square feet. This was built by Summit Homes, which is the builder that you saw in a couple examples from Lee Summit. This is also one of the most affordable price ranges that you'll find in Overland Park. It's a little bit more expensive just because everybody wants to move to the city. Construction costs have increased, and I believe that the cost to build a home in Overland Park is a little bit more than if you looked at Olathe. Now, if you're looking for something under the mid 600s in Overland Park, there are a couple places you can look. This is actually in South Point. I believe they have a couple different lots left. They've got a couple homes that might be under construction. I know they certainly have a model still available. There's also Wolf Run, which is right next to South Point. These are all the ones on the further left side of that new homes corridor along West 179th Street. Then if you go way far east around to that Stillwell, Kansas area I showed you, you've got Southern Meadows, where you'll find several homes in the mid, maybe a couple left in the like lower 600s, but that's really what we're seeing as construction prices increase. Now, example number 2, this is one from Southern Meadows, a little bit higher price bracket at $777, 5 beds, 4 baths, in a pretty good size for the price range, I would say, which is 3663 square feet. Of course, it's a reverse 1.5. It's about a 10,000 square foot lot, which is almost a quarter of an acre. If we move on to Century Farms, this is one of the communities that was a little bit farther north along that new homes corridor. This is Century Farms, and this specific home that you're seeing is probably the most beautiful model that I've ever walked through. Every client that I've had walk through it with me has thought it was just absolutely stunning. $940,000, 5 beds, 4.5 baths, 3,400 square feet, and it's on almost just under a third of an acre. The reason this one is so nice is because you've got the catwalk exposed to the great room with those really tall ceilings. The beams in that great room make it look really nice. And some of the feedback that I've heard about this floor plan is just that it flows really nicely. You've got a loft upstairs, it's a perfect space. And overall, the footprint of the home is pretty substantial. Since you've got that master on the main floor, it means that the size of the home has to be a little bit bigger. So if you did finish the basement, you could likely get this to 38, 39, even 4,200 square feet, which is a pretty big size home. Now, the fourth example from Overland Park, almost 1.6 million, 5 beds, 4 baths, 4,000 square feet. It's over a third of an acre size lot. And again, this is one in Century Farms as well. By the way, before you go, here's that list of the top 15 places to buy a new construction home in Kansas City. More options means more opportunities, which is really good for you in the middle of a housing shortage. Feel free to pause the screen so you can look at this in more detail. Or in the meantime, make sure you subscribe to this channel because we're going to be doing on-site tours of a lot of the different communities mentioned in this video. And in the meantime, feel free to click right here, which is the video YouTube thinks you would enjoy the most, or this playlist where I'll be adding all of my new construction videos too. So click either here or here, and I'll see you on the other side.